Pause for a moment and breathe. If you're here right now, it's not by accident. Something quiet inside you led you here before your mind even understood why. Let your shoulders relax. The feelings you've been carrying are tired of being silent. There's a kind of sadness that doesn't cry out loud. It just sits gently in the heart, waiting to be understood. Maybe one person keeps returning to your thoughts without permission, not to hurt you, but to remind you of something unfinished. You tried to move on. You tried to be strong, but some connections don't disappear just because time passes. This message isn't here to rush you or demand answers. It's here to sit with you in the truth you've been avoiding. What you're feeling isn't weakness. It's what happens when a heart loved deeply and honestly. You don't need to explain anything right now. Your emotions already speak clearly enough. If your chest feels heavy as these words land, that's how you know this story begins with you. Part 1. The truth. You always felt, before anything happened, before distance, silence, or confusion, you felt something. You felt it when your heart became quiet for no clear reason. You felt it when their voice sounded the same, but the energy behind it didn't. You felt it when conversations ended too soon, like something important was left unsaid. You told yourself you were overthinking. You tried to be logical. You tried to stay calm, but deep inside your intuition kept whispering, something isn't right. That feeling wasn't fear. It wasn't insecurity. It was awareness. Your soul noticed the pauses they didn't explain. It noticed the emotional distance that appeared without warning. It noticed how they pulled back, not because they stopped caring, but because caring was becoming too real. They didn't walk away because love faded. They walked away because the connection became too deep to ignore. What they felt with you wasn't light. It wasn't casual. It wasn't something they could control. So instead of facing it, they avoided it. And you felt that shift instantly. Your intuition wasn't imagining things. It was responding to truth before your mind could understand it. That quiet knowing you carried, that was never wrong. Part 2. Why they chose someone else. This part hurts, but it also heals. They didn't choose someone else because that person was better. They didn't choose someone else because you weren't enough. They chose someone else because they were afraid. What they felt with you was intense. It required honesty. It required growth. It required emotional courage. With you, they couldn't hide. You saw through their smiles. You felt their emotions before they spoke them. You touched parts of them they hadn't healed yet. And instead of leaning in, they ran. The other connection felt easier, predictable, less demanding emotionally. It didn't challenge them. It didn't ask them to grow. It didn't force them to face themselves. They thought choosing comfort would bring peace. But comfort without depth becomes empty. Slowly, without meaning to, they started comparing. Laughs didn't feel the same. Conversations felt shallow. Silence felt heavier, no matter where they went. Your energy followed, not as memory, not as fantasy, as truth. That's when they realized something painful. What they had with you couldn't be replaced. Part 3. The guilt they carry. They don't talk about it, they don't show it, but the guilt lives quietly inside them, especially at night, when the world slows down, when distractions fade, when there's no one to impress. That's when memories surface. They remember how you tried to understand, how you stayed patient longer than you should have, how you gave honesty where silence was returned. They replay conversations in their mind, moments that didn't seem important back then, but mean everything now. They realize how one honest choice could have changed the entire story. And the hardest truth they carry: you didn't deserve the confusion. You didn't deserve the silence. You didn't deserve being left without answers. This guilt doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides behind busy days, behind forced smiles, behind pretending everything is fine, but it never leaves. They are learning something painful now. Running from feelings doesn't erase them. It makes them heavier. Part 4. Why they stayed silent. You may wonder, if they felt all of this, why didn't they speak? Why didn't they explain? Why didn't they fight for clarity? It wasn't because they didn't care. It was because they were afraid of what would come out once they started talking. They knew if they spoke honestly, they wouldn't be able to stop. All the emotions they buried would surface. All the truth they avoided would spill out, and they didn't trust themselves enough to handle that. They were afraid of making promises they might break, afraid of hurting you again, afraid of being seen completely. And they were afraid of you. Not because you are harsh, but because you are perceptive. You feel truth without words. You see through excuses. They knew once they were honest, there would be no going back. So they chose silence, but silence has consequences, and now they feel every one of them. Part 5. The moment. Everything shifted. Something changed recently, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. They began to feel emotionally alone. Even while not being alone, they felt unseen, unheard, disconnected. The connection they chose for safety stopped feeling safe. And in that emptiness, your presence returned. Not as longing, not as nostalgia, as realization. They finally understood something important. What they felt with you wasn't chaos. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't intensity for no reason. It was truth. And truth doesn't disappear just because it's ignored. The more they tried to suppress it, the louder it became. They realized they didn't lose you by accident. They lost you by choosing fear. Part 6. The message from their heart. If they could speak without fear, without pride, without excuses, this is what they would say. I thought choosing someone else would make life easier. I was wrong. I didn't know walking away from you would feel like walking away from myself. I know I hurt you. I know my silence confused you. I know I left you questioning things you never should have questioned. Please believe this. None of it happened because you weren't enough. It happened because I was afraid of how much you mattered. They haven't said these words yet, but they live inside them, and they're getting louder. Part 7. Why this message comes now. Timing is not random. This message reaches you now because you have changed. You're no longer waiting the same way. You're no longer chasing answers. You're no longer questioning your worth. You chose yourself. And when one person steps into their power, the other is forced to face what they lost. They feel the shift. They sense that you're no longer available for confusion, no longer open to half-truths, no longer waiting in silence. And that scares them, because they know if they don't speak now, the door may close forever. Part 8. The shocking realization. Here's what may truly shock you. They aren't just regretting their choice. They're questioning who they became when they made it. They realize the version of themselves who walked away from you wasn't aligned with who they want to be. Losing you forced reflection, and reflection is uncomfortable. But it's also growth. You changed them, even in absence. Don't miss the last message, because the last message very important, and especially for you. So listen, be carefully. Before you leave this moment, close your eyes and listen, not to hold on to pain, but to acknowledge what your heart just felt. If even one sentence stayed with you, It means this story touched a place you rarely let anyone see. Maybe it reminded you of someone you never fully let go of. Maybe it explained a silence that never made sense. Or maybe for the first time, you realized you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong person. You don't have to explain everything here. You don't need perfect words. If this felt like your story, write, "I felt this." If it reminded you of someone, write, "This is my story." And if your heart reacted before your mind did, just leave a heart. Sometimes being seen is the first step toward healing. Thanks for staying with me at last. So please like, share and subscribe the channel for more mindset-changing videos, because this channel will grow with your support and your love. Thanks a lot.